Hey guys, what's going on? Long time no see. Um, been a while since I really felt like making a Master Duel video, but inspiration struck recently and I really wanted to talk about something that I've been using lately. Um, I'm a little under the weather while I'm recording this, so I apologize. I'm gonna try to keep the coughing to a minimum, but yeah, I'm like super excited about this deck, and I felt like I needed to talk about it, so I figured I'd show you guys my Phantom Knights Fiendsmith deck. Um, Phantom Knights is kind of like a fairly decent deck that's always kind of been around. It's always kind of lingered, but not a lot of people are using it right now. Most decks involving Phantom Knights usually run like adventure and like DPE. That's like the most common way to play the deck, but I think since Fiendsmith has come out, this is probably the best way I can think of to play the deck, actually. Um, It's a deck that's mostly revolving around a lot of graveyard revival, which is almost entirely what's going on with Fiendsmith, so they kind of work well together. And I'm running like a really short package of Fiendsmith here. You'll notice I'm running the typical like Lurie, Tract, 2 Engravers, and a Lacrima. And all I'm running in the extra deck is just a Desiree. You can run this with like, with more Fiendsmith. Maybe, I know a lot of people are running this with Lacrima, the Effusion Lacrima. And I believe, you could probably put Necroquip in here. You can maybe put Wave High King Caesar. I don't really think that that's really necessary. I think a lot of people are missing 2 key components that you should be running with Phantom Knights, and that's Link Spider and Almirage. Part of the reason you used to run these in the Phantom Knight Adventure deck is this was like if you opened up a not so favorable hand, this is how you're getting to DPE. You can draw an Ancient Cloak and get to DPE that way. It's not great. It's unfortunate. It's a starter, but it's like the worst Phantom Knight starter that you can open up with. But it gave you something when you were running Link Spider and Almirage. You would send Ancient Cloak for Almirage. Ancient Cloak gives you Shade Brigandine. And then Shade Brigandine goes in Link Spider. That's your 2 effect monsters, and you can go into Verte. Same principle here, except now you can go into full Fiendsmith combo, because you need 2 effect monsters for Moon of the Closed Heaven. So you're doing almost the exact same thing that you would do with Verte, except now you're getting arguably a better result from it. You get a non-targetable Omni Negate. It's an Omni Negate that can only work on face-up cards on the field, to be fair, but it's... Desiree is just so hot right now. I personally... I'm not really too sold on running too much more of Fiendsmith. I have had some games where Fiendsmith Lacrima has come up where it just kind of like won me the game because it was lowering attack damage on the enemy field and just wouldn't die. But I've come to the point to where I feel like you kind of don't need it in favor of like other things. I wasn't running IP before. There's so many situations that have come up where I would prefer to have had IP over Fiendsmith Lacrima, because you can end on an IP, and let's say something gets like, you know, entirely ignored, like your Apo or like your Desiree, you can pivot into an SP, and that's 2 more interruptions that are sometimes even better depending on the deck that you're up against. So some notable changes that you'll see in this deck compared to typical Adventure Phantom Knights is we're running a couple of Burning Abyss cards. This is the ideal combo line that you're going to be running with Cherubini. You used to send Water Enchantress to get your adventure combo going with Cherubini, but instead of doing that, you're going to be sending Graf. Graf is going to get you Sir, whatever his name is, and then this gets you into Rusty Bardish, and then you also revive back a Cherubini off of Sir Chur's effect when he goes to the graveyard, which gives you an extra body for more Apo negates. If you don't know a lot about Phantom Knights combos, I can maybe make a video going more in depth in how those work. I mean, there's a lot of 1-card combos here. Speedroid Terrortop is a 1-card combo. I have a replay I'm going to show that will basically go through that combo. It ends on 2 negate Apo, Fog Blade, a Desiree, and you know, follow up for next turn. One thing this deck does really well is follow up. When you're running like Fiendsmith, which can just constantly grind itself out, and Phantom Knights also can kind of also keep grinding itself out with the way that its graveyard effects works, as long as you're using something like Leviair to bring back your cards that get banished or regained, which I think is huge. That's the reason I'm running a small Bestial package. I see a lot of people running more Bestials. I don't think it's necessary. Regained is really like the whole game plan here. You could probably change this up. You could go more Bestial Lubellians to get more of a way into Regain, because, you know, draw power off of a deck that does a ton of banishing is huge, and it brings your banished card back into the deck for more grind game. So more Bestial Lubellians would probably be great, but I'm only running 1. I don't think it's necessary. You know, when you open up a Magnuma, you get a turn 2 to go into Lubellian, and then that gets your regained and blah blah blah. Yeah, the deck is really it doesn't like give you a lot of boards that are like super sticky, but the boards themselves, they can do quite a lot. I mean, Apo, it's not really. This is like a super easy card to out. So I don't give much stock to this, but she's extremely useful. Desiree is really annoying to deal with, and I mean, if you deal with it, it might also fuck you over, right? When it goes to the graveyard, you get to send a card, like you've lost that. So Desiree, really annoying to deal with. The Fog Blades are actually like, these cards are so annoying for an enemy team to deal with, in my opinion. It's a negate. It's basically your imperm of the deck. You don't want to be running imperms because of Shade Brigandine. If there's a trap in the graveyard, you can't use this card at all. It just becomes dead, unfortunately. So you should not be running any trap cards that can't remove themselves from the graveyard, which is exactly what all of these Phantom Knight trap cards can do. They can all banish themselves to revive a Phantom Knights card. So it's kind of why you're not running Imperm, unfortunately. You can't really run Dominus either. You probably could run a Dominus card. I don't know if there's maybe not actually. I think we're running like winds, we're running lights and dark. Yeah, no, you can't run Dominus at all. Never mind. You can ignore that. But you could do what is it called? Droplet? Droplet would actually be a pretty good addition to this, and I would almost say that's like a really good addition if you wanted to add it. There's like a lot of play that you can do here. You could move your hand traps around. Maybe crossout isn't so huge. You could probably take out the crossout. You could add in a couple of other things like 2 droplets. Maybe you could run some Nibirus. I would almost recommend running a singular Nibiru, if only for crossout, because one thing this deck has a huge problem with is Nibiru. It has no play against it, unfortunately. At least that I can find yet. Maybe there's like you could probably go into an early Apo and just ignore the rest of your Phantom Knights combos by ending on Rusty Bardish. Like after you get the Cherubini, if you have enough gas, maybe you should just go for the Apo and then hope that you have enough to go into a Fiendsmith combo, and then you've got an Apo and Fiendsmith on the board. Sorry for the coughing. Yeah, that could be one way to play around Nibiru. It's unfortunate because you really want Rusty Bardish on the field. It helps your grind game. He can constantly send things to the graveyard. He also allows you to destroy cards depending on whether or not you can get a break sword into one of his arrows. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling about this, but it's probably better to show it off. I think it's important. You don't really want to run this deck at 40. Could you just, you know, cut some like hand traps or something. I don't recommend it. There's 2 really big garnets, and it's actually the Burning Abyss cards. You really don't want to see them. There's like points in the combo where like you might think that Takatomborg is a garnet, but you can actually still use this if you get like a Leviair on board. Maybe 3 garnets here. Maybe you should be running this at like 43 or something. You don't want to see Takatomborg. You don't want to see the Burning Abyss cards. There's ways to like deal with seeing them in your starting hand, and almost all of them revolve around Torn Scales' effect to discard a card. So basically you would need, in the event that you do open them up, you would need enough gas to get to Cherubini and have a Torn Scales on board without having used Torn Scales effect. So it's a lot of gas. It's unfortunate because then you would send them, and on their discard effect they do their things, right? But yeah, it's whatever. You could probably cut Bystials. They don't come up a whole hell of a lot for me, but they're really good for things like Fiendsmith right now. And they give you regained, like I said. I wouldn't change too much about the deck though. I think it's in a good spot. I see a lot of people running this with Horus and like 60 card decks, and I personally don't think that's necessary. I think it gets a little bit too hectic. I think at this number, it's really solid. Like it has a lot of good starters that allow you to pretty much always end on your typical boards. Your Rusty Bardish, Fogblade, Appaloosa, and a Desiree. The only notable 1-card starters here are Terrortop and Torn Scales. They both get you into that exact board. Torn Scales will give you an extra negate on your Apo. Terrortop gives you 2 negates. But then you also have, like, every single one of your Fiendsmith cards are 1-card starters. I mean, the worst ones are Lurie and Lacrima. But every single one of these cards can go into full Fiendsmith combo and get you a Desiree, which, you know, might just be enough depending on the hand traps in your hand. But anyway, I've talked enough. I kind of want to go into the replays that I've got. I feel like I've talked a little bit too much, so I'll make sure to put like a timestamps of when the replays start if you don't want to hear my rambling. But anyway, deck's great. I'll show it off now. All right, so this is like a pretty long game. I think I'm going second. Yeah. I think this is up against Hero, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah. So I start off by ashing the Evil Assault. I don't really want him to be able to go into a lot of stuff here, but we'll fast forward. It's Evil Hero. They're trying to get to their new Evil Hero card, and rightfully so. It's really powerful. They go into Backfire. Backfire gives them Toxic Bubble. Draw. Wonder Driver. They get Super Poly here. Exactly. So, at this point, all we really know is they've got Backfire, Wonder Driver, and a Super Poly. We have no idea what this back row is. And they might have some hand traps in hand. But I kind of drew one hell of a fucking hand here. Terrortop plus Engraver is like enough, but then to top it all off, I get another really, like, not... Stained Greaves doesn't seem like he's a super good card, but there's so many situations where he comes up where he's really useful. I'll show some of those off later on, but we're just going to start off with Terrortop. They can't really handle, like, it's not an activated effect from hand, so you can free special summon, which is great. They kind of just let me do some things. Cherubini sends for cost, so they can't even get around that. So this is just going to let me get into my Burning Abyss. We send Graph here off of Cherubini's effect to get Chur on board. Then we're just going to link those off straight into Shade Brigand, or what the hell is his name? Rusty Bardish. My favorite card in the deck, and I can't even think of his name. So on Graveyard Send, Chur gets to revive a card, and you want to do Cherubini. One notable thing about these cards is they cannot survive on the board if there are non-Burning Abyss cards, unless Cherubini is pointing to them. So monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects, so they won't even be destroyed by their own card effects. So you have to keep that in mind when you're playing this. There are a lot of times where I've screwed myself over because I forgot that they explode if you control a monster that is not a Burning Abyss monster, you destroy it. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you only really want to revive Cherubini here. It's a link to, it gives you an easier way into Apo. I'm sending Ancient Cloak here. This is like almost always what I'm gonna send if I don't have access to it already. Ancient Cloak is like the best Phantom Knight card to have in your graveyard because it gives you a card into your hand, which it almost corrects things perfectly every time you get this in the graveyard. Like if you have it gives you your Shade Brigandine, the trap card, which can be used to special summon this guy. You can get like, oh, Silent Boots, which special summons itself if you have another Phantom Knights card on board, which then lets this guy special summon himself. If a Phantom Knights monster is special summoned to your field while he's in your hand, you can special summon him. So like there's a lot that like you can do depending on like how you correct your hand with Ancient Cloak. So if you don't already have access to it, you almost always want to get it off of Rusty Bardish. There are obvious caveats to that. It's not always going to work that way, but pretty sure I grabbed Silent Boots here. I do. I haven't used my normal summon yet. Takatomborg is a special summon, so I can just normal summon him. Special summon Phantom Knight's Silent Boots, and then once he's special summoned, I can get the Stained Greaves on board as well. So now we've got like so many bodies on board. He's got a super poly. He doesn't know what to do with it. Like that was like my goal here. I knew I had like normal summons on board that I could still do things and Engraver. So like I was trying to like flood the board to confuse him on how he's going to use his super poly at this point. And he let me do it. I think there was probably a better point in time where he probably should have gotten Cherubini and Rusty Bardish off board, but either way. We go into Little Knight. Little Knight's going to target the Super Poly on board. I think maybe I could have targeted the Unknown here. This could be all manner of things. I'm like so certain it's not Imperm at this point. But like the number one scary thing is it's probably Favorite Contact, which goes into a lot of things that just fucks you over. If you Favorite Contacts for like the one that destroys the board, there's not really much I can do about that. Or if he gets the new Evil Hero card, he steals a card, which isn't nearly as bad, but in this situation at least. But I decided to go for the Super Poly. I just want to force the card I know that can obviously handle or ruin a lot of plays that I might have from here on. So he just falls for it, which he should. He gets rid of my Little Knight and his Infernal Wing Backfire, and he's using this to go into the Evil Hero is what I thought. But he goes for the Darkest Night. I'm not really sure what the requirements are for the Evil Hero. I think this was like a horrible decision, but I'm guessing, I guess heroes only run hero cards because it's a pretty xenophobic deck. So maybe that was like all he really could do. That was probably the ideal situation there, maybe. I don't know enough about hero, but he recycles Dark Fusion. I use, I don't even remember putting this guy, oh yeah, I normal summon him. This card is like really good to throw into the graveyard because it's a card you can just put there because it lets you decide what you need in your graveyard later. When it's banished, you can send any Phantom Knights card from your deck to your graveyard. So like if you need to revive something, you can send like one of the trap cards. If you need Ancient Cloak, you can send that. If you need a Silent Boots to get the Shade Brigandine, you can do that. Blah, blah, blah. So I send Torn Scales here because I have no access to it yet. And at this point, if you don't know how he works, if a Phantom Knights card is banished, while he's in the graveyard, he can special summon himself. So that's like your access to Torn Scales, which I don't have anything yet, but my plan is to get Silent Boots into the graveyard and use his effect to banish to get a trap card. So I just go into Engraver here. Do the normal Fiendsmith stuff. Lurie sends itself, special summons itself. Yeah, we've all seen this before. So here, here's where I decide I need to start working on his board more. I probably should have done this sooner. I probably shouldn't have gone into more Fiendsmith stuff, but I just wasn't sure what that back row was. I knew I needed to get rid of it, but you know, There wasn't... Maybe... I was thinking, like... Called by the Grave is probably what I was thinking at this point, and I was so worried that he was gonna Called by my Requiem that I was like, you know what, I need to stop, I need to deal with this, and I don't know if that was the correct play. Because what I find out, it's favorite contact. And I was like, I'm screwed here, he's gonna go into the Shining Neos and wipe my board, but it's not what happens. He goes into the new Evil Hero monster, and he steals the... I'm not so sure how I would have played this. He steals my break sword, which is probably correct. On that response, I just keep doing Fiendsmith stuff. You know, this is another pop. He can detach a card to pop a card on the field, so he's probably thinking I'm just gonna go like straight into Arc Rebellion, which I think I probably would have, but yeah, I'm not so sure it was like the right play. Fiendsmith is just so strong. Arc Rebellion, unfortunately, isn't really a good idea to end on, and I don't think I could have killed if I went into Arc Rebellion. I'm not sure. But neither here nor there. I continue doing Fiendsmith stuff. I get Lacrima. Lacrima is gonna bring back Engraver. I'm gonna attach Requiem so I can send... I think I send Neos Lord here. Yeah, it was probably ideal to do that. I was thinking maybe I could send my break sword, but my real goal was to pop it. If it's destroyed, period, it lets you revive your monsters, so that was like my play. I wanted to leave it on board. But, continue Fiendsmithing. Not much to see here. I get some burn. Go into Desiree. And Desiree's gonna negate this guy who lowers my attack. And I just proceed to wipe the board. You'll notice I still had Lacrima, the fusion, in the extra deck. I don't think it really mattered in the grand scheme of things here. This would have played out the exact same way without him, so... I don't think I'm playing... I think at this point I'm not playing Levier. Yeah, no Levier in board. This was a huge mistake. I should not have done this. I kind of forgot that I had used my Little Knight. And I can't go into Appa with what's on board because Rusty Bardish can't be used as link material. Cannot be used as link material. So this was a huge mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I just wasn't, and I just went into a Masquerena, but I guess, you know, Masquerena's scary either way. I think, unless... Yeah, no, I didn't have any way to revive anybody in the graveyard either, so... Not really sure why I did that. He's gonna go into Darkest Night, and this card is really annoying. I made a weird play here. I forgot that Desiree is just quick effect period. You can just use this. I could have just negated his effects. But I didn't do that. I used Fogblade on my Desiree to protect it. Fogblade, one of the notable things about it is, where's the line that says this? Monsters cannot, here it is. Okay, so negate that face-up monster's effects. That face-up monster cannot attack. Also, monsters cannot target that face-up monster for attacks. So, I was using it to protect my Desiree. It was a little cheeky, probably wasn't ideal. I really wanted to keep the Desiree on board, and my plan was to destroy the Fogblade so I could negate this guy with Desiree's effect, blah blah blah. It was weird. I shouldn't have done that, but Because there was like such an easy way for me to I could just like flood myself with like revival effects to get Shade Brigandine or Rusty Bardish and break sword back on field, and I was planning on destroying this, but it didn't really work out that way. I tried to use my Torrent Scales. He uses Ghost Bell. I called by it. I think I'm just kind of like doing normal things here. I'm trying to get Engraver on board, which I can't. I can't activate his effect to send him to the graveyard and do all that stuff, because I think most of my Fiendsmith stuff is like... Oh no, it's because I don't... Yeah. Tract is gone, so I couldn't do that. So I'm just gonna send him to the graveyard with Engraver. Then he revives a monster. I don't know why I don't attack this turn. I think I just forgot. Oh, I know what was going on this game. I was playing so many weird things here because I was constantly running on 30 seconds of time on my turns. This Duel was so annoying. I forgot about that. I end turn here because I had 0 seconds on the clock. That's what it was. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so he goes Malicious Bane. That's the explanation for all the weird plays. Now it makes sense. He's just gonna wipe my board. Typical, he got so close, yet so far away. And this is where we bring it home. I draw nothing, but like I was saying before, this deck has such a good grind game because of the way that Fiendsmith and Phantom Knights can just keep grinding themselves back out of the graveyard. So I've got a Fog Blade in the graveyard now. That brings back Rusty Bardish. This was a huge misplay. Again, I was playing weird because of the time, but you want to keep an arrow open to bring back Breaksword. I wasn't thinking again. I just kind of get a bunch of like negates on board. I bring back Torrent Scales. He's gonna send the Wing, yeah, and then Wing brings me back Breaksword. Didn't really matter because I still had Engravers send. So, you know, this wins me the game. Yeah. Good stuff. So that's game 1. We'll go on to game 2. Sorry for the weird plays, but I couldn't help myself. I had like 20 seconds on the clock constantly, so. Okay. Game 2, I was getting a lot of really weird opponents. So I start off here, typical Phantom Knight stuff, but with Regained on top. This is one really great thing about this deck. It plays really, really well with Ash Blossom in mind. It might suck to deal with Nibiru, but so many times where opponents will Ash Blossom me, not knowing what to do, and it's like there's not a good spot to Ash Blossom. Like really the only good spot to Ash Blossom is Thorn Scales, but that's when Thorn Scales is all you have, which you almost never... It's almost never a situation where that's all you have, so... He Ash Blossoms me. I don't give a shit, like... I'm just gonna go... I've already got 2 3s on board. I'm just gonna go Cherubini. Cherubini is gonna do the Burning Abyss stuff. Get Chur. We sent Graph to get Chur. We get Rusty Bardish. And Chur brings back Cherubini. And like I said before, I didn't have him before, but now I do. Ancient Cloak. I already have Silent Boots and Torn Scales in the graveyard, so that's the next choice. You're seeing like a lot of the synergy here. Regained brings me back. Cloak. I probably shouldn't have done Cloak when I did, or Regained when I did. I think it's better to bring back Cloak off of Levier to save it from the Banish Zone, because then you keep it in your graveyard. Not a big deal, but either way. Torn Scales revives itself. That lets me get Stained Greaves on board. I drew this off of my Regain. We send Silent Boots for Shade Brigandine. Blah, blah, blah. Levier. I'm going to get the Silent Boots here. Save him from the Banish Zone instead, which the two optimal guys to save from the Banish Zone are Silent Boots and Ancient Cloak, so that's okay. And then we Fiendsmith. Just going to speed this up. Just getting bodies on board. Lacrima. We're doing all the normal stuff. So one other thing about him is if you have a Phantom Knights card in hand, he can banish himself to let you special summon a Phantom Knights card from your hand. So there's a lot of situations where he does come up. And in almost every situation where he special summons something, you can increase that card's level by 1, which could come up, and it will come up. I'll show you that later, but I'm just getting bodies on board in this situation here because I'm going for a fat Apo. I think, given the how I've changed the deck to make sure it has IP, I don't think I'm running IP in this duel. Yeah, I'm still running Lacrima. Here, I think it would have been more optimal to use the Shade Brigandine and the Ragged Gloves to go into IP. IP needs to affect monsters, so we would have to use the Link Spider, blah blah blah. But instead, I just go for a really fat Apo. It depends. I mean, you can do whatever you feel here. I've also got Maxi to top this off, and I get Lava Golem. Lava Golem set 1 pass. I knew the moment this guy did not surrender, I knew that was coming. Nothing you can do about it. It's like nothing you can ever do about it. But that's okay. Pretty sure we just go on to kill him. We're just gonna murder this guy. So here, like, I'm thinking this guy's just running like a lot of just like hateful shit. He's probably got a Nibiru in hand. You can't handle Nibiru on turn 1, but on turn 2, if you want to go for lethal, there's a lot of this deck can do to just like flood shit on the board and get enough damage. That's kind of what I do. So, sorry for the coughing. He's gonna called by my Torn Scales, which is like the worst thing to get called by in Phantom Knights. Torn Scales is like your guy in this deck along with Ancient Cloak, so I really don't want that to happen. I banished Ragged Gloves to get something in graveyard, I think, here. And I'm trying to revive him, and this was something that I love about Phantom Knights that's really great. You can dodge called by pretty well if you have your graveyard sequenced well enough, and I have a Phantom Knight's wing in graveyard. So I'm gonna just dodge the called by. Torn Scales tried to revive itself, it gets called by, I revive it with wing instead, and then his called by does nothing, so really great. Regain just sends that back, lets me draw a card, I get another Fog Blade, he discards the Fog Blade, and now there's another revive, so I can use this to bring back whatever I want. Here I've got 2 summons on board. I'm scared of Nibiru. So I go into Takatomborg, and at this point, I just get lethal. I get Break Sword. This is the 4th summon, and I just murder this guy. I had no idea what he was playing, and I didn't really want to find out. I was scared of the Nibiru the whole time, so Just go for lethal. There's not really much else you can do with this deck. It's unfortunate, but if you can avoid it, you should. Okay. You might have noticed I'm like playing a lot of this in silver. I haven't played in a long time, so I'm like really, really low rank, but I don't think that... I think there's like a lot of really good players playing in lower ranks lately. Like they've got like really good decks. I've been going up against like Fiendsmith Control. I've been going up against Branded constantly. So either way, I'm just trying to show off what the deck can do. So don't look too poorly on me that this is like low ranks I'm grinding this against. So this guy, I mean, he's not on anything great here. He's got 4 cards in his extra deck, but I mostly wanted to show off this one so I can show you what Terrortop does. This hand is like not super. I mean, it's great for going first because I can use Terrortop as a starter, but I mean, it's a great hand. Like, I've got cross out for if they try to ash me, and I've got an ash for their maxi, so on and so forth. So, and Terrortop is full combo, so you'll see that. But here I'm just gonna show off the full combo. So, typical Burning Abyss. We're going into Rusty Bardish. Sure, bring back Cherubini. You're sending Ancient Cloak. So, this is like a situation where you're probably wondering, like, I don't have any Phantom Knights cards. What the hell do I do? You send Ancient Cloaks. Ancient Cloak's just gonna get you what you need. Ancient Cloak, you haven't normal summoned yet, so you're gonna grab Torn Scales. That's your main guy. Discard a card, we're just gonna discard the other Terrortop, send a Silent Boots. Silent Boots. Gonna give you Shade Brigandine, so... yeah, this is gonna go into Link Spider, and we're gonna use these 2 guys to go into our Fiendsmith combo. It's a bit unfortunate. We leave both of these guys stuck in the Banish Zone, but we got multiples, and, you know, Rusty Bardish does get to send you what you need in the next turn, like for more grind game, but that's if he stays around. This combo is like the only one that I can think of where you can't Leviair to save a guy. So it's a little unfortunate, but you do what you can. And this is a really, really strong end board either way. I'll just speed up the Fiendsmith stuff. You've probably seen this a million times. You know how it works. Fusion Summon, Desiree, and then this is where you go into your Apo. You want to leave Sequence on board. Sequence and Cherubini are going to go into the 2-mat Apo. And then Sequence uses its graveyard effect to attach to Desiree. This is the end board. Off of a Takaton board. It's really strong, I think. It's the strongest that I think Phantom Knights has been in a long time. Like, people aren't really using Dagda anymore. Even though it's still legal, I think it's legal. People just don't run Scythe and Dagda. They run like Little Knight over that. Because I think Dagda gets like owned, you know, pretty easily, or Scythe rather. Scythe gets owned by like, you know, Bestials, Called By. It's just not great to run it anymore. Now, at that point, before Bestials were around, Dagda was like the optimal thing going into Scythe and just floodgating, but I think this is the strongest that Phantom Knights has been since like a lot of the power creep has come in. You get to target 2 cards off of this for an Omni Negate. You got 2 monster negates, you've got another monster negate here, and then you've got 3 more cards in your hand for hand traps or to do whatever else you've got to do. He's got this shit. That's what it was. It's like a fucking Yugi deck. It wasn't great. I think I just kind of like murdered this kid, but I murdered this guy Mike. He tries to gadget trio, I just Fog Blade. I think it's like more ideal to get your Fog Blades out of the way. Because you can just pop this with Break Sword. than to use your Apo and let it get run over. Because this stops your Apo from getting run over either way. Whatever they try to come in, like if they're trying to be cheeky and run over your Apo, just Fog Blade it. If it's a big monster, just Fog Blade it. It protects your Apo even if it's bigger, you know? Like if they summon like a fucking Fenrir or something and they want to crash it into your 2400 Apo, just Fog Blade it. Don't use Apo to negate him and then get run over. It's just not worth it. Fog Blade, it's the best thing. Like, one thing I do want to note, when you're using this deck, don't put Desiree here like I have been. Don't be stupid like me. I've just been kind of like autopiloting my shit, and I just like I get like weirdly like I don't know, I just like when my cards are getting pointed to by the link monsters sometimes, and I just turn my fucking brain off. Don't do that, because you need these arrows freed up for Break Sword to go in to Rusty Bardish's zone so that Rusty Bardish can pop. If a Dark Xyz monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So that's one pop from him and then one pop from Break Sword. It's really good, like, for breaking shit your opponent has. Don't do it. Just don't be like me. Keep his zones completely free. But yeah, I go into Break Sword. Pretty sure he has, like, something to stop this. No, I just get rid of the Fog Blade. I go Magnamut. Oh, I remember what this guy has. Yeah, he's got these stupid trap cards. This would have been lethal. I Apo this. He tries to use this, I Desiree it. This is like a trap card monster that summons itself. And then he's got another. So, like, I just have to hold that. Like, it sucks, but at this point, I decide I'm going to go into SP to get rid of this guy, because it's continuous. It can use its effect on the next turn. So I just didn't want him to get any bodies on board. I didn't know what the hell else this deck could do, because you never see it. I just SP it, get it out of the way. Out of sight, out of mind. And he concedes. Yeah. So, cool beans. We can go on to game 3. I think we got 2 more. Okay, so this guy was on some real hateful shit. I'm going first. I'm pretty sure he's got max C. Not much you can do against a max C with this deck. I try to go into my bestial lines and stuff first. See, this is a situation I've got Graph already in hand. It really sucks. So my plan here, if you are curious how to handle this, like these 2 cards in your hand are ideal if you're not gonna get Torn Scales. If you see these 2 guys, this is perfect. Because you can get your Torn Scales later, or you can just get Torn Scales off of Ancient Cloak. Actually, no, sorry, I take that back. If you open up these 2 guys, you're gonna get Torn Scales in your graveyard off of Rusty Bardish. Cherubini is gonna do Cherubini things, and then this Ancient Cloak, when you've opened up these 2 guys, you're gonna banish it to get your what is he called? I always forget their names. You're gonna grab Stained Greaves. Because when you... the plan here is... you're grabbing Stained Greaves immediately off of this guy. And then Rusty Bardish is going to send the Torn Scales to the graveyard. You could actually grab You can send Tornscales first and then grab Stained Greaves. It doesn't matter because of the way that this all gets sequenced with like the chain links and everything. Doesn't matter. But either way, you want to have Tornscales in the graveyard when you get your Stained Greaves in hand. Because when you banish this guy, he's going to special summon himself, and then Stained Greaves is going to special summon himself off of Tornscales' effect. And then you proceed like normal. You go into Leviair, you grab your Ancient Cloak back, and then you can use him to get your Shade Brigandine and go into full Fiendsmith combo and end on your Apo. So if you ever see 2 Phantom Knights cards in your hand, the hope is that it's these 2 guys. But that's not what happens here. I've got Graph in hand, and instead of sending him off of Cherubini, we're going to send Tornscales here because I need to correct the Graph issue in my hand. So we're going to just go into Ancient Cloak now to grab Stained Greaves and get Tornscales on field. And I get Max Seed. What are you going to do? He played this well. He's waiting for me to really commit to use his Max C. And I'm not about that life. I summon my Tornscales and I just get a Fog Blade. That's my plan. I don't end on shit. What would have happened here is I would use his effect, discard Graph. Graph will get me Chur. I summon Chur into this arrow. Remember that. Like, I have a non-Burning Abyss card on the field already, so he would kill himself, but Cherubini saves him, so that's how you correct this. If it's Chur in your hand, unfortunately, in this situation, what you would do instead is you would not you would instead of grabbing Stained Greaves with Ancient Cloak, you're gonna grab Shade Brigandine off of Silent Boots, and then you're gonna use Shade Brigandine to special summon itself. You don't want to use his effect yet. You're gonna get your Rusty Bardish off of the Shade Brigandine and Cherubini. And then you're going to use his effect to send Chur. Chur will then revive the Cherubini that way. So either way, either one in your hand, you can fix it as long as you've got this guy on board. And you can get into like a Shade Brigandine or a Stained Greaves. Either one works. And in fact, at this point here, you could just do Shade Brigandine, period. It doesn't matter too much, but this is what I would typically do. But I just Fog Blade and I pass. Like, what am I gonna do against Max C? Let him draw a billion cards and go. So I see Pot of Extravagance and I'm like, oh fuck, it's Flu. Maybe I can survive off of a Fog Blade. So like I'm crossing my fingers here, it's possible. And then he plays Dimensional Fissure and I'm like, holy shit, it is fucking Flu. I'm so screwed here. Like, he's got the craziest graveyard hate imaginable for my deck. This deck hates graveyard hate. Dimensional Fissure fucks you. The dragon, I can't think of his name, he fucks you. Cave Dweller. So I think I'm screwed here, but we're gonna see some really great shit in how I pull this off. I use Tornscales. I'm like completely forgetting how Dimensional Fissure works. Some of them only do it from your deck. That's Herald. I just wasn't thinking. I try to use his effect and I just fuck myself. But then I get Brandon Regain and I'm like, oh, it wasn't a misplay. Regain helped me. I send back him and then I get Shade Brigandine. But didn't really see what I wanted. So I go into SP and I'm like, yes, I can just get rid of Dimensional Barrier Fissure. And he's got a fucking Apophis. Like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm so screwed. He's got Graveyard Hate, and he's got Apophis, and he's got the fucking Anguish pattern, which is gonna destroy my SP after this guy gets summoned. I'm like so screwed here. This is like the most annoying deck I've gone up against since I got this shit going. So I'm like, well, I'm fucked. Then he destroys it. So this is where you can do some really cool shit with this deck. This is why I love Stained Greaves. This was like my only out. It was perfect. It was so perfect. When you special summon this, it triggers Stained Greaves. It comes in at a level 4, which is not ideal for Phantom Knights. Usually you want level 3s. Except in this perfect situation here. You know, this guy is entirely, like, you can't really use him with the other Phantom Knights cards. Stained Greaves is the only one that works well with him because you get to special summon him at 4, and then you can go into your Raiders Knight. You might be thinking, oh, Alice, I see. You're gonna go into Arc Rebellion, right? You're just gonna make a big-ass beat stick and hope, beyond hope, that he's gonna pull it out for you. No, actually, that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use Raiders Knight, and he can actually go down a rank. 1 rank higher or lower than this card is what he can go into. If you don't know how this guy works, he detaches a card, and then he can XE summon into one Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, or XE's Dragon card, XE's card. That's 1 rank higher or lower, and I'm just gonna use this to go into Break Sword. This is my only out at this point. I'm thinking, you know, I'm probably screwed either way. He's got another guy here. In which case, I do have another out if I built this differently. If you're running Zeus, you go into Zeus and just wipe the board at that point. But I don't have Zeus. I'm hoping that Break Sword works here, and it does. I get that off board, and now I can go back to doing my shit. I get Magnamut on board. I'm gonna try to get that card, and he's got a fucking Dominus Purge. This is just like, he's running some hateful shit. This guy is just tired of the meta, I guess. He stops my Magnamut. Not much that Lubellion's gonna do here. Lubellion is almost entirely for regained, so I just kind of ignore it. And you'll notice I haven't used my normal summon, so I'm just gonna go into Fiendsmith, and he gives up. He saw the writing on the wall. It was over. Really, really great. So, yeah. Phantom Knights, it's looking really good right now. I highly recommend you try it out. You know, you don't have to go with the exact same deck that I've got. You can try out whatever, you know, whatever combination of like hand traps, or like you can add 60 cards. Like I said, some people are running that. Like, you can do whatever you want, but give it a try. I highly recommend these two archetypes. Like, they work really well together. It's looking really good. I think it's stronger than it's ever been. I'll go ahead and go through the card by card, so if you want to try to build it, you can. So we've got 1 Lurie. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. That's gonna take way too long. 2 Maxi. 1 Graph. Male Branch of the Burning Abyss. Sure, Male Branch of the Burning Abyss. 3 Speedroid Terrortops. 1 Takatomborg. 1 Phantom Knights Ancient Cloak. Oh, 2. Sorry. 2 Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. 3 Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. 1 Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves. 3 Ash Blossom. 1 Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves. 3 Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. 1 Lacrima the Crimson Tears. 1 Molcharmi Foolos. A lot of people, you know, you're probably going to run this at 3, but I'm just using 1 Foolos here to offset the Maxi to 2 thing, so. Do whatever you want with that. 1 Bestial Magnemite. 1 Bestial Druis Worm. 2 Fiendsmith Engraver. 1 Bestial Lubellion. I just added this in, you saw that earlier, but you can put in whatever you want here. 1 Nibiru, I recommend it for the cross-out target at least. 1 Foolish Burial. 1 Reinforcement of the Army. 1 Fiendsmith's Tract. 1 Branded Regained. 2 Called by the Grave. 1 Cross-out Designator. 1 Phantom Knight's Wing. 1 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. And 3 Phantom Knights Fogblade. For the extra deck, we've got 1 Fiendsmith's Desiree. 1 Leviair the Sea Dragon. 1 Phantom Knights of Break Sword. 1 Raider's Knight. 1 Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Sorry for the pause, I'm just trying to avoid coughing on the stream. 1 Link Spider. 1 Salamangreat Almirage. 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem. 1 Cherubini Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. Long name. 1 IP Masquerena. 1 SP Little Knight. 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven. 1 Fiendsmith Sequence. 1 The Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardish. And 1 Appaloosa. So that's the card by card. Give it a try. The deck has a lot of like 1-card starters it's got going on. You've got 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 3 Torn Scales, and 3 Terrortops. Those are your notable 1-card starters. And then any Fiendsmith card gets you a Fiendsmith combo, so it's got a lot of power now, I think. Try it out. Yeah. So normally this is the end of the video, but I actually wanted to show off a fun duel. This is just a little extra at the end. If you're done with Phantom Knights, you can just leave, but I just wanted to show off a duel real quick. The hell do I have this? Yeah, this was hilarious. This was one of the best duels I've ever had in a long time. This is Shiranui versus Branded, I'm pretty sure. And 12 turns. I'm just gonna let this play out and give some commentary, and yeah, we'll just enjoy this. I haven't had a duel this fun in a long time. Shiranui, so much fun. I loved it. I'm even going second here. He just sets 1, pass. We're both looking at just absolute utter garbage at the start here. I had a max C and I'm like, oh, that's great. But at this point, I'm trying to Foolish Burial and send some zombie world shit to just kind of get my stuff going. And he's got a fucking cross-out Designator of all things. And guess what? He has the Foolish Burial because he's playing Branded, so of course. Foolish Burial, no shot. Set 2 pass. What are you gonna do? Nothing I can do either. He passes, and it's looking real rough. But then I draw the Squire. I'm like, oh, thank God, I can just murder this guy. So I go into Squire, and he's got a fucking Effect Veiler. Of course he's got an Effect Veiler. And I called by it. I'm like, yes, okay, we're totally good. And then he's got the fucking Bestial Baldrake. I'm like, oh, I'm so good. And then he just rips it right out from under me. Because he's going to use this to dodge the called by. So fucking annoying. So I max C. He doesn't have response to that, thank God, but I get at least 1 draw off of this horrible start. I'm thinking, we both have shit. This max C is not gonna get any value. I might as well just use it now. And I draw the fucking Unizombie. It's so huge. Unizombie is huge for this deck. So he negates my Squire. I gotta pass. There's nothing I can do. He's got a fucking Raigeki in hand. Why? It's so annoying. And he's got nothing else. He's just gonna go into 2500 damage. Such an annoying duel. I wished that this wasn't what I drew, but I could have done this so much better than what I do. I summon the Unizombie and I target him to send it. I shouldn't have done that. I should have sent something from my deck. I should have sent the Necroworld Banshee and then sent the Glow Up Bloom to get him on board, but it works out in the end, somehow. So I go Squire, and then I'm thinking Shogun Saga. Hell yeah, let's go, baby. My favorite card in the deck. This guy's so sick. He's got another fucking Bestial. Like, I banished this guy to pump his attack, and he's got another Bestial. He's just trying to put some shit on board. So annoying. He gets rid of my Unizombie. I boost. Squire's gonna let me draw a card and discard a card. I send Belaird Rock, and he's got a third motherfucking Bestial. Like, why? Of all the things he could have banished, Belaird Rock was not the one I wanted to see get banished. I just get in for some damage, and I've got Ghost Meets Girl, a Masterful Mayakashi Shiranui Saga. This is just gonna completely shit on a whole turn for this guy, right? But I actually hold this for so long, and you're gonna see why. I'm like not sure what he's playing yet. He's just got Bestials. He's got all 3 different named fucking Bestials in his hand. Drew a Cross out and a fucking Raigeki, so I'm thinking whatever the fuck this is, it's probably annoying. And then it was branded, and he's got the fucking branded fusion in hand. Turns out this is a one of in his deck. He didn't craft the second one yet, so I'm like, Ash Blossom. Cool. Most people would probably off rip run the Ghost Meets Girl, but I just, there wasn't really much he was doing. I thought he had nothing, and it was just branded fusion, so I just Ash it. Cool. I get a called by. That's not bad, but then I've got Spectral Sword in hand. This is like kind of the other reason I didn't use Ghost Meets Girl. Ghost Meets Girl could have gone in the graveyard and saved my Belaird Rock, but then what do? Instead I use Spectral Sword to get the Belaird Rock. Huge, like this card is so good. But they're negated. So I at least save them from the graveyard. I get rid of him because he's just gonna get, I already know what he's gonna send. He's gonna send the branded trap card that's gonna get him branded fusion back. Of course you're gonna do that. And I'm not scared of that. Because I'm thinking to myself, I have like Super Poly, I could probably just use that if I really need to. Then I'm like, I saved Ghost Meets Girl for a reason, and this is what God chose me to do, so that's what I do. I didn't want to send this guy either, because I just didn't want him to send my Shogun Saga, because I need that for Ghost Meets Girl. He branded fusions, and I, in response, use Ghost Meets Girl. This is the other reason why I was like holding it for so long. I want him to use this so it's out of the game. I'm waiting for him to use it so I can use on response the Ghost Meets Girl to just no extra deck for you. Sorry, buddy. You suck. Get out of my fucking game. Get outplayed. So funny. I was laughing my ass off this whole duel. I know this guy was so triggered. He's like, Shiranui, fuck you! Jackal Bolin's not great. Ghost Meets Girl is gonna get me Mizuki. Mizuki's gonna get me Belaird Rock, I think. Or Unizombie. No, Belaird Rock, yeah, of course. Not much I can do here. I just attack. He's gonna send my Belaird Rock, like, not much I can do. 1500. Pass turn. I think I'm in some deep shit at this point. And he draws a branded opening, and I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get the second branded fusion. It's back to 2. This deck is so scary now. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And he doesn't have it. He just gets a fucking branded regained. Like, oh, I'm so in the clear. Branded regained, pass. Okay. I draw the Unizombie. This shit was the most insane. Heart of the cards. I'm king of games moment ever. I got a 10 in me. I fucking ripped the best card off the top of my deck. It was so insane. Unizombie sends Necroworld Banshee. Necroworld Banshee gets me Zombie World, which lets me just grind out some fucking Belaird Rocks. And then I've got the fucking Super Poly. He's thinking, oh, maybe I can like pull some shit out once, you know, this bitch sends my Druisworm. Once Zombie World's on board, guess what? Duke of Demise is out, baby, and he's here to fucking take some heads. I super poly both of his shitty ass zombies that are now on board thanks to Zombie World, and I get another monster. Super poly's huge in this deck. It's hilarious. He's like, well, it's okay. I'm just gonna send Duke of Demise to the graveyard of Unizombie, and then guess what? Called by, bitch. It's over. It's free and clear. Duke of Demise gets the win for me. Oh, I was so hyped. This duel was so insane. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt so good. Man, you just gotta love when you fuck over a branded player with like such a dog shit deck. Yeah. All right. That was it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.